Good morning and welcome into Folsom Field. It's Saturday football in Boulder. Joe Paris alongside Andrew Hobner. Game number 2 here at Folsom Field this year. Your University of Colorado Buffaloes taking on the Nicholls State Colonels. Andrew, this one should be the easiest game of the year by far.
This is basically a bye week, Joe, and it's honestly better for CU because when you're in a bye week, you can't do your typical 20-hour practice weeks. Colorado got a full 20-hour practice week. The teams will probably be in after the first half. First team comes in when the first half is over. It gives them a really good amount of time still to be able to practice, to be able to get in the ability to play, and also to be able to keep fresh, keep light, keep the momentum going into what is going to be an incredibly difficult Oregon game next week. That's really the one to look at. This game, I expect to see the starters out by halftime.
Andrew mentions the bye week. Colorado is one of the only teams in the country that doesn't have a technical bye week. They play all their games straight through the season. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think it's a bold decision, Cotton. But Andrew, last week Colorado beats Colorado State in an absolute thriller, and it's almost a shame that they're not playing Oregon this week because they really could have taken that momentum from last week and really maybe made a run at a top team.
I think it's almost a better benefit that they're not playing Oregon this week because when you look at Oregon, you want to have as much time as possible to prepare for that spread offense, to prepare for Vernon Adams. Here, Colorado gets a nice opportunity to be able to play up, to feel good about their offense, to feel good about their defense. Nicholls is a team that hasn't won since October of 2014. I mean, this is a team that is technically on a 100-week losing streak, roughly around 20 games. So this is great for Colorado because they can practice their plays. The second string can come in, get some good time, and that's been good because they've been decimated by injuries in that running back core especially. So Colorado has a good chance here. I like the fact that they have this game before Oregon because if you were to go into Oregon this week, I think they need a little bit more time to be ready. I think they need one more game to go on the first 3-game win streak of the Coach Mike McIntyre era, and that way you have confidence building to an all-time high coming into this game against Oregon, prime time on the mothership, going to be the biggest one of the year probably.
Could only imagine what the feeling would be in Boulder if Colorado would have picked up the win against Hawaii to get things going. A 4-0 start would have been nice, but Andrew mentioned the injuries and the Colorado running back core really having some injury difficulties after that Colorado State game. Who do you expect to see today really starting it off for Colorado on offense?
Well, Patrick Carr is for sure out with an injury. Philip Lindsay had a problem with his ribs. The guys that you're going to expect to see a lot of today are going to be Donovan Lee, who's going to be actually moving from wide receiver, his typical position, down to running back for this very reason, and Christian Powell, CP46. He's had a pretty good game on the ground. If you play him and Lee together in that complementary role, one guy's the power back, one guy's the speed, it works perfectly, and that's the way it's been working for Colorado. You give guys like Atkins, Lindsay, Patrick Carr a break, and a guy like Kyle Evans, the walk-on, who's 5'6", 175, bulldog really type guy, can come in, can get some meaningful snaps. And Colorado's running back core is a little bit depleted now, but I think that they're bent but not broken. CP46 is still in this lineup, and of course Patrick Carr, Philip Lindsay, those guys should be back for next week along with Michael Atkins. So I'm not freaking out too much, but look for Donovan Lee, look for Kyle Evans, and of course CP46 will probably be in that starting role.
And a big factor last week was the play of Sefo Lufau in the second half. He had a really rough first quarter, a decent second quarter, but he turned it around, and I think he showed that he really is a top quarterback in the Pac-12. You see a lot of statistics out there that say he's got this many touchdowns, this many passing yards, and some people say, well, they're inflated statistics, but I really think Sefo is starting to prove that he is a really good quarterback, and he's not someone to be messed around with.
Well, when you look at the statistics, Sefo Lufau and Nelson Spruce are going to go down as the most prolific pass-catch duo in college football for Colorado. Nelson Spruce right now 59 yards away from being that all-time leading receiving yards leader. He already holds the receptions lead, passing Scotty McKnight in Week 2 against Massachusetts. He needs 3 more touchdowns to take over McKnight's position again in touchdowns. So it's going to be a record-setting day, I have a feeling. The starters will probably be out by halftime, but by that time, if they are coming out at half, you expect them to have padded the stats enough where you will see in the stat book that Sefo Lufau and Nelson Spruce are 2 of the best pass-catch duos, best quarterback, best wide receiver duo that Colorado has ever had. Passing Cody Hawkins, passing Scotty McKnight and Michael Westbrook, it's going to be pretty impressive to see how they break records today.
To shed some light on today's matchup, although Las Vegas doesn't book odds on FBS teams, some independent booking firms have called this a 55-point favorite for Colorado. And Andrew, I think it'll be interesting to see if they could put up 55 points today. What is the all-time record?
The all-time record is 66 points here in Folsom, and it hasn't been done since the mid-2000s game against Louisiana Tech, which Colorado won. I think it was 66-17 or something like that. So you want to see Colorado covering the spread really is kind of a negligible thing. You want to see Colorado play well. You want to see them continue to improve. You want to see that offensive pass game, run game start to flourish. You really want to see the defense basically keep this team off the board. You don't want Nicholls to put down points in big quantities against you, especially with Oregon's high-octane offense looming in the wings. So I don't think they'll cover that 50.5-point spread. I think it might be a 52-17 game. 35 points is enough. The second string will probably give up a couple touchdowns here or there, maybe a field goal or two. I'm not concerned about point spread. I want to see this team play well. I want to see them continue to improve because at this stage, a win and a big win at that, like what they had against UMass, is what they need right now. It's not about trying to cover spreads.
The energy coming out of the Colorado State football game was incredible. Everyone on campus was excited. Boulder was alive in the streets on Saturday night a week ago. The student section really filled up the north end zone at Mile High Stadium. And Andrew, I know there's a lot of people that are probably still sleeping right now, but I'm really hoping people start to file in really first quarter, second quarter, and come out to support the Buffs on a beautiful September morning.
Well, I'm going to give you the hot take on this Saturday morning. This game is just a setup for attendance for Oregon. I'm really not concerned about attendance today. There might be 30, 35,000 people in the building, and that's okay. The fans, if it's a blowout, they might leave at the end of the third quarter, and that's fine too. Anytime you're leaving when Colorado is winning a game by too much, that's always a very good sign. But this is really a setup because if Colorado wins this and they win it in convincing fashion, it gives the fans enough confidence to be able to come into Oregon, come in, fill that stadium for prime time against the Ducks on the mothership on ESPN, the main ESPN, not 2 this time. There's going to be enough in the air if they win this. So I'm not concerned about attendance. To me, this game is a tune-up, and that's how I think we as fans, as media, should treat it. Colorado, of course, they gave us the coach speak answers this whole Tuesday. Tedrick Thompson said, I think we're sleeping on their receivers. I think we're sleeping on their quarterback. Coach McIntyre showed his players the Sacramento State film to make sure that they don't take this game for granted. I appreciate that sentiment, and I like where their head is at. But for us as fans and media, this is a game Colorado should win. It should be a tune-up. Attendance is a pretty negligible thing. It's all setting up for Oregon.
Well, it's going to be a fun day at Folsom Field. If you're just getting up, why don't you come on down? I know they're really encouraging everyone to come down to Folsom Field. It's going to be a beautiful day for football. Alongside Andrew Hobner, I'm Joe Paris. Thank you for tuning in to the Radio 1190 pregame show. You can catch all the action for this afternoon's game on radio on 850 KOA or, of course, on the Pac-12 network. Andrew, any final words?
Final words as the ball rolls right by me. Colorado has a chance to really cement themselves and really get some momentum in what is going to be most likely the most difficult Pac-12 schedule they've ever faced. The Pac-12 South is probably the best conference in football right now and right next to the SEC West, if not better than them. So Colorado needs this game. They need it for momentum. They just have to take it one step at a time. Not look ahead to Oregon, but they need to understand that this is a game where they need to knock this team out early, get their second stringers in, get them a little bit of a tune-up, and then you can start looking forward to that looming match against the Ducks.
Kickoff around the corner. Thank you for tuning in to the pregame show alongside Andrew Hobner. I'm Joe Paris. Make sure you follow all the action on Twitter at GBSM_sports for all of the updates from today's student media. It's going to be a fun one. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have the entire game for you on the Pac-12 network or on radio 850 KOA. Alongside Andrew Hobner, I'm Joe Paris. Enjoy your morning, Boulder, and go Buffs.